You know that feeling when you're falling for someone? It is so easy to get swept away by the grand gestures and all the sweet promises. But sometimes, what feels like the perfect romance can start to feel a little off. Today, we're going to be looking at those hidden red flags, the warning signs that affection might actually be a disguise for control. So, what happens when that dream romance starts to, well, unravel? You're left feeling confused, just wishing you could have seen the signs a little bit earlier. And when you're head over heels for someone, it's incredibly easy to overlook all the warning signs that there might be trouble in paradise.
Okay, so this is the absolute key, right? Learning to tell the difference between the illusion and the reality. Behaviors that seem like intense passion, deep devotion, and genuine care on the surface can actually be masks for control, isolation, and manipulation. So let's break down how to spot the difference.
All right, let's dive in. We're going to start at the very beginning, that exciting, early stage of a relationship. This is often where the most deceptive red flags show up, disguised as just overwhelming affection. So, the first big term we've got to talk about is love bombing. Have you ever been with someone who just showers you with compliments and gifts and nonstop affection, like almost immediately? While it might feel like you're living in a fairy tale, this can actually be a tactic used to manipulate you. And this cycle, it's an incredibly powerful manipulation tactic. Here's how it works. First, they overwhelm you with affection to kind of fast track the intimacy. Then, just as suddenly, they pull it all back. This creates this powerful dependency, right? It makes you crave their approval, and ultimately, it gives them control. And that brings us to another huge early warning sign, saying I love you way, way too soon. I mean, those three little words carry a lot of weight. According to psychologist Dr. Mariana Bakarova, a premature I love you can signal that a person is more in love with the idea of love, or even worse, that it's a tool used by controlling or narcissistic partners. Look, in those first exciting days, it's totally normal to be texting a lot. But what about when those messages become a constant flood and they get upset if you don't reply right away? That's a red flag. It often signals some deep insecurity and a need for constant validation, which is really just a fundamental lack of respect for your personal space. Okay, so let's move on, because this is where things can get even trippier. This is where what feels like togetherness can actually become a form of isolation, as your partner slowly starts closing the circle around you. So here's a really important question I want you to ask yourself. Is your world expanding or is it shrinking? A healthy relationship should make your world feel bigger, introducing you to new ideas, people, and experiences. If you feel like your world is getting smaller and you're being cut off from your support system, that is a major, major warning sign. I want you to picture your life, okay? It's made up of all these different important pieces. Your partner is one of those pieces, absolutely. But they shouldn't be your entire life. You still need space for your friends, your family, your work, your hobbies, and most importantly, just for yourself. A controlling partner often tries to eliminate all these other areas. It's so easy to mistake jealousy for some kind of intense affection, but let's be crystal clear about this. Genuine care is all about trust. It means honoring your boundaries and supporting your autonomy. Possessiveness, on the other hand, is about control. It looks like questioning your friends, getting prickly when you talk to other people, or even trying to approve what you wear. And seriously, let's just put this out there as plainly as possible. Trust. That's the foundation of any healthy relationship. If your partner is checking your phone without your permission, or tracking your every move, or demanding your social media passwords, this isn't care. It's a controlling and potentially abusive dynamic. All right, now let's shift gears and talk about communication, because words, they are so powerful and they can be used to either build a relationship up or completely tear it down. We're going to look at how communication, especially over text, can be used to undermine and control you. Have you ever just stared at your phone, totally confused by a text you just got? You might actually recognize some of these toxic texter types. You've got the vanisher, who just disappears and then reappears. The minimalist, with those K or OK replies. The one-way texter, who never ever asks about you. The constant critic, who makes you second-guess everything you type. And finally, the backhanded texter. Ah, this one. Never mind, I'll stop bothering you. This is a perfect example of a backhanded text. It seems so innocent, but it is loaded with passive aggression. It's designed to make you feel guilty and just create tension. And over time, this kind of communication makes you feel constantly on edge. And then there's the lack of support, which is another massive red flag. Let me tell you about Lisa's story. When a family member was being really rude to her, her partner just told her to take the high road instead of actually defending her. Now, even if it wasn't meant to be malicious, that kind of response shows Lisa that when it comes to conflict, she's on her own. And what about when you actually try to talk about a problem? Do you ever feel like you're just running into a brick wall? If you hear responses like, "That's just who I am, deal with it," or just flat out denial, that's not communication. Those are conversation enders, and they're designed to shut you down. So, okay, we've gone through all these different signs. What's the big takeaway here? Well, it really all comes down to reclaiming your own story and learning to trust your gut when something just feels wrong.
You know, when you actually lay it all out side by side like this, the difference is just so stark. A healthy relationship is a two-way street. It's a balance of give and take, where boundaries are respected. A toxic one is totally one-sided and ignores them. In a healthy bond, trust is given freely, but in a toxic one, your personal info can be used against you. Ultimately, it comes down to this. You should feel built up, not constantly undermined.
And really, this is the core idea of everything we've been talking about. True, healthy love should make you feel more like yourself. It shouldn't confine you or control you. It should set you free. So I'm going to leave you with one last thought, one final question to really think about. Take a moment and reflect on your own connections. Do they empower you and help you grow? Or do you feel like you're being held back? Answering that question honestly is the very first step toward building the healthy, fulfilling relationships that you deserve.